This is Ellis Gordon, and you're listening to episode 76 of the Who's on Top podcast.
And welcome back to episode 76 of the Who's on Top podcast. And for the first time ever, we have the most short-handed cast. I am joined only by the Russian machine himself, Ellis Gordon. Ellis, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great. Came home for Yom Kippur, but it looks like they brought in the big guns for this episode, right, Danny?
This is the big gun episode. No Jacob, no Jeremy, no Ori, just the Kings going at it. And a lot of great content. This has the potential to be one of the greatest episodes ever. So let's hop right into it. So I guess it's just time to move on to some week one reactions. And in the year of our Lord 2021, there are three main players that me and Ellis argue about. And all three of them shit the bed in week one. And of course, I understand it's a long season, longest season ever, 17 games. But on the other hand, Aaron Rodgers. Let me tell you, Ellis, I'll let you go first. Tell me about Aaron Rodgers. What did he do on week one?
Probably his worst game of his career.
Yeah.
I think statistically his worst game of his career.
It
doesn't help. It doesn't help that he looks so old while he's playing his worst game of his career. His hairstyle is doing nothing for him. But yeah, and against a Saints defense, which is like very good defense, but not. I wouldn't say they're. Would you say they're elite? I wouldn't say they're elite. I'd just say they're very good.
I'd say borderline elite. Very good defense.
Anyway, I know Dan's gonna love this, but he did look disinterested out there.
No.
There's not much to say to defend him. I mean, that was just a really bad game. I will say for fantasy and for normal, don't panic just yet. If he does bad against the Lions, a team that has no defense and he historically owns, then I think panic mode goes to 9 or 10. But right now, in terms of the season, my panic mode for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers is out of 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. But there's no doubt he shit the bed.
You're probably asking yourself, listeners, why should I care about Aaron Rodgers when it's clear he doesn't care about football? And you're right. This guy, instead of working to finally win something in his life, bitched and moaned all off season. Am I going to retire? Am I going to do this? Am I going to – and wants to go on Jeopardy. And then he comes in. He needed a good performance. If he had a good performance, we'd be like, okay, he came in ready to play. He's got something to prove. Last dance or first dance or whatever. But no, he went in.
Technically, it'd be a second dance.
Second dance. Good for him. And he looked entirely disinterested. He, as Aaron Rodgers always does, the moment he goes down, the moment he faces a little adversity, he quits. He did it against the Bucs last year. Just showed no fight. The two interceptions were god-awful. The first one was just a toss to nobody. And the second one was just a, fuck it, Devontae Adams is down there somewhere. Terrible throw. Got benched, I think, with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, I love it. But as just a football fan, like someone so egregiously talented, you would think they would give a shit and finally want to prove something after losing at home in the NFC Championship game, after getting embarrassed by the 49ers the year before, he missed the playoffs the year before that.
I think he was injured.
Yeah, and injuries and, so many tough losses against the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game. You think you would want to prove something, knowing that he has very little time left. But no, Aaron Rodgers always focuses on what he doesn't have, not what he could have. He's worried. I only have one all-pro receiver. And granted, his offensive line is a bit of a work in progress, and the defense is more middle of the pack. But, why can't he just focus on himself? When is it going to be? And then he goes to the Pat McAfee show. He's laughing. He's having a good time.
That was a good show, actually. I really like the Pat McAfee show.
It's all good because he's Aaron Rodgers and he's an NFL quarterback. But you know why he'll never beat Tom Brady? You see, actually, my friend Nick said this. Tom Brady, every shot of him, laser eye focused determination. He is completely focused on the next. You know what his favorite reign is? The next one. You know what Aaron Rodgers' favorite reign is? The one 12 years ago that he doesn't want to win another one.
I mean, there's so much I disagree. I'll give you, actually, I will give you like 60% of the points on that one. I don't even know where to begin with something I disagree with. I mean, like, first off, his coach took him out on 4th and goal. He wanted to stay in on 4th and goal last year.
Yeah, sure he did.
No, he said he did. But he says whatever.
No, he wants to be on a vacation house in San Francisco, in Los Angeles.
I mean, I do think Tom Brady is way more focused than him. I think he's just more focused than everyone. It's just Tom Brady. It is what it is. But I do think though that he did look disinterested. I fully admit it. I think that is kind of the narrative that the media and everyone's playing into because of all the drama. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, because it adds up. It adds up.
I don't think it does. I think he just had a bad game. And it happens. May I forget that Tom Brady forgot the downs last year? Do you think he can?
That is complete. And then what happened? They went in and smacked Aaron Rodgers.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. Well, to that point,
if Aaron Rodgers forgot the number of downs, I wouldn't call him disinterested.
I think the Lions game is going to be very indicative for this team. I think if they come out and like Aaron Rodgers owns the Lions, there's no doubting that he is their daddy. If they come out and they do awful, then I think this is going to be a bad season. But if they do great, I think this is just going to be a road bump, a week 1 road bump. That is fine. I'm not worried yet, but this Lions game, I'm not worried yet, but I'm paying attention to this Lions game for sure.
And everybody in the NFC North lost. So
that was funny.
They got some time.
I told you that Vikings team ain't gonna be that good. I told you that Giants and Vikings team are not.
Maybe the Bengals are just good.
And that's a good point too, actually. That's a fair point. Joe Burrow looked good.
We'll talk about week 1 later, but one more. I was watching basically the entire Bills Steelers game, and
I want to see what you say.
What do I want to say? First off, Josh Allen. I was talking about
your league MVP. Your league MVP.
Mostly about last year, like. Josh Allen, he's going to have some of those games. I'm more worried about the offensive line than I am about Josh Allen because I'm just looking for my food. Because Josh Allen, he's going to have these games where mechanically he's just off, right? Pressure's in his face. There are some drops. He's playing one of the best defenses in football, definitely one of the best front sevens in football. And it's week 1, and, sometimes it's going to happen. There was some questionable play calling. It was more of a team sort of dysfunction than it was his fault. And I'm not really worried about the Bills. They're going to win the AFC East. Dolphins and Patriots didn't look that good either. So mostly the Josh Allen things I'm talking about, mostly just, trying to push your buttons.
Yeah, actually, I totally agree with you, to be honest, because, I mean, this just seems so easy for me. Week 1, jitters / Steelers being the best defense in the league, probably. But did you see? I will say though, you saw the game, right? Did you see him take out Minka Fitzpatrick's legs? Because that was.
No, I didn't see that. I wasn't watching. I don't.
No, I'll send it to you later. You guys, for the audience, you look at it. He's about to be sacked. He fights off 2 tackles. Is in open field like 2 yards down from Minka Fitzpatrick. Completely jukes him for Minka Fitzpatrick, falls back, and then he runs 15 yards. Some of his throws look sharp. Overall, didn't look great, but I'm chalking this more up to week 1 jitters. And also, I'll say this. I'm moving on to our third thing that me and Daniel argue about, since I think me and Dan actually agree on Josh Allen. I am concerned about our bet, but I'm not concerned about Najee Harris. But wait. I'm not concerned about Najee Harris. I think, again, week 1 rookie running back, I think Najee Harris will be totally fine going down. I think he'll be totally fine. Here's why I'm worried about the bet. I have David Montgomery in 2 of my leagues. I wasn't the biggest David Montgomery fan. David Montgomery looked ridiculously good against against Aaron Donald and that top Rams defense. I watched some of that game. I needed Matt Stafford to get 31 to win my money league, and he got 35 in the last touchdown of the game. So great for me. But Montgomery, who I had in that league too, just looked really good. So I'm actually, if Montgomery might beat Najee Harris, but I think in terms of talking about Najee Harris, he'll be just fine week 1. And a lot of things I liked about it. He got the volume I predicted.
He
If
did
he
get
gets
the
that
volume.
volume,
It seemed like
if,
he was out there every play.
if he gets that volume throughout the season, he's only going to improve, in my opinion. And I think he's going to be the 10th best fantasy back.
I disagree. I mean, we're not talking about that much. We're talking about 10, and I think he's going to be like 15. And you're right about the volume. Also, one thing, I'm going to win the bet because also Justin Fields is going to start soon. And that opens up some options. That opens up a quarterback who.
Well, you wouldn't have to bet. I think the other odd thing is Clyde Edwards-Helaire did not look good. And by the way, it's funny that I bet you those two players because this was complete coincidence because in my money league, the league, just so you guys know that I'm the most invested in, I have my running backs are Clyde Edwards-Helaire and David Montgomery. So I was watching them both very intently, and I think Najee Harris is going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire for sure. But I'll be honest, Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks like a very average RB2. But I'll be honest, David Montgomery looked great. Like just film-wise looked great, not even fantasy-wise.
Well, we can talk about the Chiefs-Browns game a little bit, but I think that, when push comes to shove and the Chiefs get punched in the mouth a little bit, they just immediately turn to it's just Kelsey and Hill. And I think when they play a team that they're going to be up by a lot, and then they're going to try to get the running game going, and then they'll try different stuff, get Edwards-Helaire involved. I mean, he's still he's a pass-catching back, which is good for fantasy. He's going to get red zone opportunities, which is good for fantasy. I feel way more confident about Montgomery, and I'm still confident in Najee Harris. I mean, he did nothing to improve. I mean, no matter how many touches you get, if you're ass, you're ass.
But why? Listen. I will give you this. The Steelers line, I knew it was bad. Watching the game, worse than I thought, and I knew they were bad. But just like some things, when you watch, for example, I was texting us in our podcast group chat. Watching Dak Prescott, I realized how good he was. I just forgot because he'd been injured. I literally just forgot. I always thought I never on purposely devalued Dak Prescott. I always thought he was good. Watching him against the Bucs, I was like, yes, this is a great QB. There's just some players that you forget that, and this Steelers offensive line is one of them. That said, I think he's gonna get more. I think he's gonna get more pass catches. He got, if you noticed, and he didn't do much with it. He got a lot of goal line opportunity. He got 2 carries I believe 2 carries and.
Yeah, and there's a couple of dropped catches. He got catches.
No, that one drop catch was a big Ben.
Or missed player.
And by the way, he would have had a touchdown if Big Ben didn't lead him too much in that throw.
Yeah,
but
he'll score. He will score touchdowns this year. He will score multiple touchdowns.
I think, and I just have belief in Najee Harris. I mean, he averaged I'm not a switch this. He averaged what? He averaged 2.8 yards a carry. I just don't think that's going to happen that often it's not going to happen that often. He's a good player. He's in a bad line, but he's still a very good running back. I think on tape, when he actually got some room to run, and now Dan's going to say he's not going to get a lot of room to run, he looked good. Yeah. But yeah, I still faith in Najee Harris.
Okay. So those were 3 things we had to get out of the way, but usually to our longtime listeners, we would do NFL poetry, which will be back next week if our friends show up. But for right now, Ellis, you want to just go game by game, just quick, just if you have anything to say about it?
Cowboys, Buccaneers. Honestly, few things. Antonio Brown looked good again.
Yeah, he looks good.
Cowboys, I think are going to win division.
I was totally wrong. If I had a chance to do last week's episode over, I would pick the Cowboys.
Their defense did not look good, but it looked serviceable, and that offense looked really good. It does wonders when Jason Garrett's not your offensive coordinator.
I don't know if the defense looked serviceable. I mean, there was that tip screen interception, and then Godwin fumbled at the 1. So you could talk. The Bucs could have easily dropped a 40 burger on them.
I mean, the defense is not going to be good, but I think their defense. I thought their defense.
Run defense looked good.
Yeah, their defense won't be dead last. Their offense will be good. The Buccaneers. Only thing worried about is the cornerbacks, but okay.
I mean, to be fair, Whitehead.
That injury was so bad.
He's back. Murphy Bunting getting hurt. I mean, he is their 3rd corner, but he was huge in the postseason. And then Mike Edwards, their 3rd safety, got hurt. They had to bring in some guy named Adams off the practice squad. But yeah, I'm worried about the secondary. I think, by week 17, it will be fine. I think when you have that good a pass rush, although the pass rush was really getting there, but it is the Cowboys' offensive line. I want to ask you, so Dak Prescott, you said, you forgot how good he was, and I think I did too. But I did see a little bit tentativeness, which I'm not blaming him for. Like, he did tear his ACL, but there's some throws that, like, he didn't really step into.
There were some plays where he could have moved up in the pocket where he looked a bit slow. But
yeah, I think there. But, there were some great throws. There was a touchdown on, like, a corner route that was really nice. And, all he needs to do, really, get the ball into CeeDee Lamb's hand, get the ball into Amari Cooper's hands. You worried at all about Zeke?
So, no. All right, the game script-wise, no. There was a few runs where he looked a bit older. Like he looked a bit less explosive. Yeah. But honestly, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. I don't think all the game scripts is going to be a shootout like that.
Yeah. They had no interest in that. You're not always going to face the Buccaneers run defense, which is best in the league.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. I did drop him slightly in my projections to a low end RB1 instead of a top 5 RB to a low end RB1. I think Pollard eats up a little more carries than we think.
Definitely more third down. Definitely more third down stuff.
And I think what the real thing that shocked me was that third down run where was it third down? Whatever, the run near the goal line where he had 1-on-1 and that cut. I feel like.
And that was against Adams, I think, the practice squad guy. You got to make him miss.
That cut, I mean, he did the right move. And it was the right move. That cut, though, 2 years ago, he probably gets in, but maybe I'm overlooking it. Let's move on to the Jaguars-Texans. They got some – I don't even know what to say. Their defense looks so bad. Lawrence, I guess it's because his first regular season game, he lost. And I guess it's just because we think of Lawrence as this god. He had some amazing throws, but he had some rookie moments too. His interception.
Well, he did throw some interceptions in college. And first game, I'm not gonna, blame him. My thought on Trevor Lawrence doesn't change. My thought on the Texans definitely changes. I think they could, they're gonna go like 4-13, but they're one of those teams who could hang with the big boys. Tyrod Taylor is a serviceable quarterback. Brandon Cooks is a great receiver, and I mean, they just came ready to play. I'm worried. Are you worried at all about the Jaguars? I mean, there's talk about Urban Meyer.
I'm not worried about Urban Meyer, though I do think it is a trend where college coaches just seem they don't understand they can't in college. I'll let you talking about this with a friend.
You can't choose your players.
No, it's not that. It's you can't abuse your players. These guys, it's work. It's work. They get paid. In college, a lot of the psychological warfare is, listen, I'm not going to say, I just have a source that some college coaches make these players get in fights, right? Like actual fights to get them riled up before games. Because they can psychologically warfare these kids because what are the kids going to do? Like, no offense, but that's just how it works in college, whether they like it or not. But in NFL, you think DeAndre Hopkins is going to take shit from Urban Meyer if he was coach of the Texans? Like, he's not running 100 laps. He knows what to do to be great. He's not going to be cussed out. So Urban Meyer needs to learn that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure he can make the adjustment. I'm still worried about his health. He's quit twice for his health. I am worried about his health, but otherwise,
again, this is a week 1. I think if there weren't whispers in the preseason about players not buying in, I wouldn't be worried at all. But it's just something to keep an eye on. Is Urban Meyer? He says here he's gonna build a foundation. He's gonna build back up. But is he really gonna? Are the Jaguars gonna be patient enough to do that? Is Urban Meyer gonna be healthy enough to do that? But I mean, these are two teams that are going nowhere. But it's nice to see the Texans. Everyone shit on them all year, all off season, just to come out there and get a win.
Yeah. Eagles Falcons. Jalen Hurts look good. Falcons defense sucks. Biggest takeaway I have is this Eagles defense isn't elite, but better than we all thought.
Yeah, the Eagles were sort of the 4th team. I mean, no one really talked about them in our predictions last week, but they've got some interesting pieces. I mean, Miles Sanders is interesting. Jalen Reagor, he caught a touchdown. And you're right about the defense, man. The Falcons are not a bad offense in any stretch of the imagination, especially passing. As a Falcon, if you're a Falcons fan, it's extremely disheartening to see them come out there at home week 1 and drop a 6 with a new coach, a new offensive coach. So
they looked really good the first 2 drives, and then it just went to crap.
So they got the Bucs next week, so they got to turn shit around.
Yeah, Chargers, Washington. I just think this is the games Washington's are going to get to. 2016, they'll win some of them. They'll lose some of them, especially without Fitzpatrick at the helm. I'm sorry, Taylor Heineke's not better.
Yeah.
They're just going to get in these games. They're kind of like the Giants of last year, or actually they're kind of like Washington of last year, but they lost this one because Burrow looked amazing.
Herbert.
Why did I say Burrow? Herbert, yes. 49ers, Lions. This Lions team's not going to be good. I know they came back. You know who's going to be good for fantasy though? I was so.
TJ Hawkinson.
I knew it. I knew TJ.
I knew TJ Hawkinson was going to.
I knew he was going to be better than Mark Andrews. I didn't trust my gut. Whatever, it happens. Just gotta bite.
Yeah, I really wanted TJ Hawkinson. I mean, he's a type. There's him, Kittle, Waller, and Kelsey are the only 4 tight ends, and Andrews. Well, I guess those are the top 5 top tight ends. Can't say that word, but he's just going to get so many targets.
Yeah.
He just is because the Lions don't have any good wide receivers.
So Andrews was only playing 50% of snaps again, but whatever. Bengals, Vikings. Joe Burrow looked. I thought it was a great game.
I watched the end on Red Zone. This was also first week watching Red Zone. Man, we didn't have that at 5 Slamma.
Yeah,
but
great.
That is a great show. That is a great show.
Well produced.
So much better than NFL fucking Game Day.
Yeah,
remember that shit?
The halftime extravaganza.
Halftime extravaganza where they show the same highlights for the 15th time. Anyway, Bengals, Vikings. Jamar Chase, he silenced a lot of critics. I know it's one game, but just nice to see that connection. And Joe Burrow's the real deal. I think we sort of forget about him. Well, not forget about him, but like
I thought he was going to start.
He could really make the jump this year. He could really make the jump. He's a great quarterback.
Jets, Panthers.
Oh, and also one more point about the Bengals. You know, I took Joe Mixon in the second round. He got 29 carries.
Oh, he's gonna be great.
So is that sustainable?
Let's move on to Jets, Panthers. Not a great game. Sam Darnold again, as for his career, showed some amazing throws and then just did absolutely nothing. Wilson didn't have the best game, but he also showed some potential, and his line was not helping him. Won't continue helping him with Mekhi Becton going down. But on top of that, his receivers had some drops. But yeah.
If you're a Jets fan, I think you got to be happy with how Zach Wilson responded in the second half going forward. I know Jets fans, I was talking to them. They were happy with how Zach Wilson looked. And, you know, going on the road, as far as Carolina goes, I mean, they have Christian McCaffrey, so they're always going to be somewhat dangerous. But until Sam Darnold can show consistency from minute 1 to 60, and they have a good defense, but until he can show consistency from minute 1 to 60, they're not going to be a threat to anybody.
Well, I'm sorry, but people keep on saying when. I have literally been talking about Sam Darnold since high school because his number one problem since high school has been consistency. So it's always next year. It's been since the senior year of high school. It's been 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. It's been 7 years, and he's shown brilliance, and then he sucked for 7 years. It's not going to change. Let's move on to the shocker of the week: Cardinals versus Titans. That Cardinals defense looks much improved, and that offense just kept on chugging. Granted, the Titans defense not the best, but yeah, I don't love this Cardinals team still because of Cliff Kingsbury. But other than that, I am excited.
I don't know your problems with him.
Awful play call in the fourth quarter. Also, not being able to control of his locker room. Anyway, go on.
But I was really worried about their run defense, and they completely shut down Derrick Henry. So good for them. Kyler Murray, MVP candidate. Chase Edmonds had a good game. DeAndre Hopkins had a great game. And we'll see. I mean, they've got a tough schedule because every team in the NFC West has to play the other one 6 times. So if they want to win a division, if they want to make a playoff spot, they're going to have to earn it. But going into Tennessee, that's not an easy game. Titans, I'm a little worried about. Derrick Henry, we talked about before the season, tread on his tires, you know. And Julio Jones did not really fit into the offense. I know it's week 1. You'll give it some time. Colts also lost. We'll talk about that game next. So, but it's just not a good start.
All right, Seahawks Colts. Since I actually skipped that game, Dan, what you gotta say? I didn't watch this game, so I don't really have any takes except for Tyler Lockett. Great fantasy pickup, but go Dan, take this one away.
Yeah, just Russell Wilson. Unlike Aaron Rodgers, who he had some off-season problems, but he came ready to play. Chris Carson looked good. Lockett, Metcalf both scored touchdowns. I didn't really watch this game either, but it seems like Carson Wentz had a pretty up and down game, which is expected coming off an injury with a new team. So both Colts and Titans start off with a loss. I would say I'm less concerned about the Colts. Again, I think they have better 53-man roster. So I think over time, I mean, if Julio Jones is not
wait, sorry, I might have missed this because are you concerned about Derrick Henry? Did you talk about that? Sorry, I was busy for that 30 seconds.
Not week. I'm watching him now.
Okay.
Now it's in my mind.
Okay.
If he can't do it, we saw some running backs have some tough games.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just week one, getting back into it, getting back into football shape. Yeah. But we'll see. And the Cardinals' run defense was not good last year. So we'll see. It's too early to tell.
All right. Let's move on to, I guess, Dan's Pats. Who knows where his fandom lies still. But versus the Dolphins. Yeah, the Dolphins offense, I was relatively high on them. They had their ups, but, I mean, not consistent in the slightest. Mac Jones had a pretty good week one. I think you'd be happy. Max texted he looked amazing. I don't know where that came from, but he looked good. Looked good for rookie QB.
All right, Max needs to chill.
Yeah,
Mac Jones looked composed.
He looked composed. That's the perfect. Great, Foxy. That's the perfect word.
Thanks.
He looked composed for a week one rookie QB in an impressive way.
My take is that the Dolphins are a borderline playoff team. Mac Jones, you're going to win some games with Mac Jones.
For sure.
Aguilar, he had a good connection with Aguilar. They were able to get Jonnu Smith involved.
Connection with White.
End around. What?
Connection with James White out of the backfield.
Connection with James White. That was a pretty throw. He was composed. Arm strength, still a question. We'll see how. But Dolphins, still not sold on Tua, but good to see Jalen Waddle get involved. A 50-50 ball to him, 50-50 ball to Devontae Parker. Those are basically the two big plays. But the Patriots, they should have won that game. 2 fumbles in Miami territory. One of them was, I think, at the 50. But the Damian Harris fumbling late, very un-Patriots-like. But both of these teams, they're going to play competitive football.
Damian Harris running-wise, though, looked good. I got to say. He looked good running.
Yeah. Other than the they got some weapons. I mean, no one's really going to stand out as, for a defense, oh, shit, we got to worry about Damian Harris. But
they got some weapons. Let's move on. Let's move on to this Broncos-Giants game. And I'm a Giants fan, very big Giants fan, but I'm also realistic and a little bit washed from being a Giants fan all these years. And I told you from the front of the season, Daniel Jones is not it. Only confirmed it. Now, I will say, I think this defense just had an off week. It will be back. Jason Garrett looks absolutely trash. He's continued to look trash. He should be fired. I understand. Maybe he has a good connection with the players. His play calling is absolute booty cheeks. This offense looks atrocious other than Sterling Shepard. Offensive line, I mean, Nate Soldier got turned into a turnstile during that game. I still have hope for Andrew Thomas. Not his best game, not his worst game. And this Broncos front seven is pretty good too. I'll say I saw a tweet about Daniel Jones that perfectly described it. And I'm paraphrasing because I forget it a little bit, but it was like, listen, Daniel Jones has times in the game he's good. But there's also times where he's absolutely horrendous, and those times all that matters because they will cost you the game. His 40th turnover in 28 games, 30th fumble in 28 games.
It's terrible.
And he just doesn't work for a bad offensive line because his deep ball is pretty. His throwing is pretty, but his pocket composure might be the worst I've seen.
And it's year 3, right? This is year 3. You got to put it together. I mean, they're running out of time. I'm worried about Saquon.
The play calling is just so atrocious for Saquon.
Yeah, there's probably the offensive line. And Saquon, it's going to take some time, so I'm willing to be patient. But I think he had 10 carries for 26 yards, wasn't involved in the passing game. We'll see how the Giants do. I mean, they short week this week. I think the football team is going to win this week. But I want to see. We'll see what the Giants look like when Evan Ingram's healthy, when Saquon starts to get more into it. But point is, you said it, Daniel Jones. You're not going to win games with Daniel Jones turning the ball over in opponent's territory and fumbling once every game. Yeah, the Broncos though. I know Jerry Jeudy's out, but I like they have a lot of playmakers. They have Noah Fant and Tim Patrick, 2 good tight ends. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. Cortland Sutton really didn't even get involved last game, which I didn't like.
But no, I watched some tape of him and he looked fine. He just was coming back from an injury, so they
you'll give it some time. And they have Bradley Chubb and Von Miller.
All right, let's move on. Yeah, so they're gonna be good. Let's move on to the last two night. We talked about this. That Chiefs division is gonna be good. Let's move on to the last two night games. Bears, Rams. Other than David Montgomery, who we discussed, this Bears team, they need Fields. They need Fields. This Rams team, they were just outclassed. They're simple. Matt Stafford. I think that Jared Goff is fine. You could tell the difference with Matt Stafford. 20 of 26 passes. He looked good. And this is scary. He had a connection with Cooper Kupp. This is a scary team. This is potentially a Super Bowl contending team.
This is a Super Bowl contending team. And I'm happy for Matt Stafford.
That password. Yes, sorry, go on.
I think the difference is Jared Goff, it seems like everything sort of came from McVay. It's just sort of, he was just a system quarterback. He was just there, plug and play. He could make the throws, but he wasn't really creating anything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then now Matthew Stafford's in here, and he's sort of bringing his own unique thing to the offense, veteran leadership. He knows what he's doing more. It doesn't all need to be Sean McVay telling him what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And you could just see the difference. And yeah, you see the pass where he rotated his hips and hit Van Jefferson. That was ridiculous. Jared Goff isn't making that pass.
I mean, Jared Goff throws a lot of pretty deep balls, and Jared Goff had a good day.
Jared Goff is
good. I think it's more. It's not that Matthew Stafford can make throws that Jared Goff can't. It's more that Matthew Stafford can consistently, 1 through 35 throws in a game, be better than Jared Goff.
Yeah. All right, Browns Chiefs. Let's talk about Browns Chiefs quickly. Dan.
Browns are the second best team in the AFC. I thought that was way before the game, but this just affirmed it. Just the way they could physically, they're going to physically dominate every team up front.
Well, the Bills. Browns are better than the Bills, you think?
I think the Browns are better than the Bills. Right. I think the Browns. I mean, the offensive line is still so important.
Yeah, the Bills going to the Super Bowl though.
Yeah, but things change.
The Browns linebackers. I was reading something. They did not look good. Like
I think the Browns are the better team, but I could see the Bills matching up better.
Yeah, the Browns linebackers concern me. They do not have good linebackers. They have good. They have good defensive ends and DBs, but their linebackers are suspect to say the least.
But if I'm a Browns fan, they played a nearly flawless first half, right? And then in the second half, they played pretty well. They made two mistakes: just the fumble and the punt, and him not turning around. The quarterback not turning around to defend the Tyreek Hill deep ball. And that's all it takes against the Chiefs. The Chiefs just need to play an okay game to beat the Browns. The Browns need to play a perfect game to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah. That's just the Chiefs. That's just the Chiefs playmakers. Yeah, in the last game, Ravens Raiders. What you gotta say about this crazy game?
What do I have to say? I mean, that was one of the craziest overtimes I've ever watched. What a great way to open the season. Doesn't have to change how I think about the Raiders, although they do have a good pass rush, I have to say. Max Crosby. Shout out Max Crosby.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like a force. And I'm glad I picked Darren Waller in fantasy because they threw to him 18 times. And Henry, for this team to really take the next step on offense, I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Henry Ruggs needs to, be Henry Ruggs. And they need to get they need better production out of their wide receivers to take, because you can't throw to Darren Waller every play, because that's kind of what they were doing for a large part of the game.
Yeah. Bryan Edwards looked good at the end there, though. You got to.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna.
I'm on the Bryan Edwards bandwagon. Maybe I'm the only one, but
okay.
Yeah. So the Ravens team does concern me a little bit for the playoffs, but in terms of regular season, I think the Raiders will be scrappy. I just, I don't think it changes much.
Yeah. Can't win with that defense. And as for the Ravens, I mean, at a certain point, all these injuries are going to add up. They need to be able to run the ball. I know Tyson Williams had that big run, and they did rush for over 100 yards for whatever, the millionth game in a row or whatever. But until Lamar can take the next step throwing, which it's hard to do with his wide receivers, they're not better than the Browns. They're not better than the Steelers.
Let's move on to Wacky Sport of the Week. This Wacky Sport of the Week is bog snorkeling. And again, a lot of these Wacky Sport of the Weeks, very identifiable by the name. In bog snorkeling, you snorkel in bogs, and it's like a race. So You it's in murky waters like all bogs are, and competitors must complete 2 laps of a 60-foot bog in the shortest time, kind of like swimming, but for snorkeling. Competitors are not allowed to use any traditional swimming strokes. They have to bob up and down. It's literally like snorkeling in a bog, as title suggests. What's the record for completing 2 laps? 1 minute and 35 seconds. Thanks to the Chatterbug for that wacky sport of the week. This is the image of it. You can see this dude. Look how gross that is. I don't know why you'd ever do this voluntarily, but people are weird.
You don't even get in clean water voluntarily.
Yeah, well, yeah. For me, I guess it's even more. How do I stop sharing? Oh, there it is. For me, I won't exactly. All I can think of is Lake House, and I just cringe. But that is the Wacky Sport of the week, and let us wrap up this elite episode of the podcast, as all things
elite
are. All right. If you want to start a Buzzsprout podcast, you can do that for free or for the paid plan. Get your thoughts out to the world. Buzzsprout is a great app, a great site, great hosting platform. Easy to do, yet it's just great. It's honestly just great. And if you do a paid plan, you get a $25 Amazon gift card. Use the link in our bio or Instagram or Spotify bio to get that. And to get the $25 Amazon gift card. Social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter. Dan is back to posting.
I'm back.
Yep, Instagram. We got Photoshops. We got polls. Link to the podcast. You always know when new episodes are out. It is great time for both sites. You should follow both. Watt.podcast, WOT.BODCAST. No excuses. Go hit that follow button. YouTube. Here's why I said bell. YouTube. Go hit that notifications bell. Subscribe. All that good stuff. We usually post highlights. Sometimes we post special episodes. It's good to see our faces. I like video podcasts more generally too. Just that's my preference. Always good to see there. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff with YouTube. You know how to use YouTube now, hopefully. Who's on top? WHO_S ONTOP. Also the name of our podcast. I know. Crazy titles. Podcast now. If you just want to listen to our podcast, just audio form, the whole thing, the whole shabam. You can do that in any podcast platforms but Amazon. Who's on top? Just search it up. Also, subscribe and like our episodes. Also, turn on the notifications so you know when the new podcast is out. Usually comes out Sundays these days, but sometimes Mondays, and sometimes if we're feeling really productive, Saturdays. But you'll get them out before NFL weekday. That is our pretty much guarantee. Pretty much. You heard me say that. All right, I think those are all the announcements. Dan, if you got anything, I don't know.
No, I'm just honored to do this podcast with you.
Great 2-man episode. Great flow, great conversation. But we do miss Ori, Jeremy, and Jacob. We hope to have you back.
They'll hopefully be back. Jacob's got Frisbee tryouts.
For Jacob, even though I know
if it's anything like baseball tryouts, he'll hit it out of the park.
That's good. Jacob, you really should listen to the last part of this. I know you won't, but keep squeezing those oranges. Keep squeezing those oranges, baby. All right. Did you see that video I sent in the chat of our? It was the Scarlet Knight at the game when we were winning. He was just like putting.
I didn't see that. Actually.
All right. Have a great week. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Stay safe, stay healthy, and vaccines out. No more
vaccines out.
It's fall, baby. It's fall. Sweater up or whatever. Jean up. Or Jacob, wear shorts, athletic shorts. And goodbye.
Goodbye.